Services.
Time is valuable. Thanks for spending your morning with us. The Elias Macko Show on News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
Trudy sitting in for Elias as he enjoys his paternity leave with their new arrival, Jack. Olivia delivered last weekend, mom and baby, and the whole family doing well. Little sleep deprived, as Elias told us earlier this week, though we wish them all the best at this time. We are going to learn now more about a rare food allergy that affects kids. Now, we've talked a lot in recent decades about peanut allergy, dairy allergy, egg allergy. I was sensitive to eggs when I was growing up, my mom tells me, that and citrus fruits, but I seem to have grown out of that. There is, though, a type of allergy that kind of flies under the radar for a lot of parents, and in some cases, some doctors aren't very well versed in it either, and it can be a struggle to get a diagnosis. It's called food protein-induced enterocolitis syndrome. And here to tell us more is Dr. Moshe Ben-Shoshan, allergy and immunology specialist at the Montreal Children's Hospital. Doctor, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
What do we know about this allergy? It's described as rare in what I've been reading. How rare is it?
So it's less than 1% of the population, mostly occurring in the first year of life, so mostly in infants, and presents mainly as recurrent vomiting and sometimes diarrhea and abdominal pain.
So it's not the type that causes a child's throat to swell up and breathing difficulties or hives. I used to get hives too. I guess I was a very allergic child. So I guess parents might not flag what's going on. They might think that their child has some type of a gastro or other ailment. How generally do kids come to the hospital with symptoms like this?
So it really depends on the exposure and the age. And you're right, it will present as sometimes like gastro, vomiting, but it will be in response to a certain food, a culprit food, usually in children, as we described in our study, eggs, shellfish, and milk. And the defining symptom will be the recurrent vomiting, substantial, severe vomiting, and usually with that specific food. And it's not occurring immediately or within the first minutes after exposure, like, with peanuts and milk, the reactions that require epinephrine administration. This occurs usually later on, like 1 to 4 hours after exposure. But although it is not involving respiratory symptoms, it can be dangerous for young kids due to dehydration resulting from recurrent vomiting.
It must be tougher to diagnose then if the reaction is separated from the ingestion of the food in question. If it's a couple of hours later, it might not immediately twig to the parents or the doctors that, oh, this is something that they ate.
Exactly. And hence it is important to follow up the pattern. And if it occurs consistently after eating a specific food, it needs to raise the red flag. And unlike the allergy that are life-threatening with epinephrine, this will not be diagnosed with a skin test. The skin test will be negative usually here. So the history is crucial to diagnose it. And the only way to establish that is to challenge the child again.
And watch to see if they end up throwing up several hours later. That's kind of an unfortunate way to test, isn't it? I guess. Right. Yeah, I guess you have to, though. Is there hope after diagnosis? What kind of treatment is available for this food protein-induced enterocolitis syndrome?
So the main treatment is rehydration. If a child is not vomiting profusely and violently, you can try and do it with an oral rehydration. Or in worst cases scenario, you need to be admitted and get IV fluid, intravenous fluid. The good news is that it usually resolves over time. So the majority of cases, mainly for milk and egg, resolve after the first year of life, and almost 100% of them resolve after 3 years. So that's the good news. So usually resolve, but the only way to know whether it resolved or not is to try it again. And the guidelines suggest or recommend to try it again at least a year after the last episode. We need, of course, more studies to determine the best or the optimal interval to try it again, because it compromises substantially the quality of life for these families that need to avoid the basic foods like milk and eggs.
I was going to talk about diet because in the interim, avoidance is obviously the way to go for parents. But once kids are on solid food, it's so difficult to track everything they put in their mouth everywhere they eat, especially if they're going out of the home to daycare, for example, and looking at ingredient lists for traces of milk or traces of egg. Is it right down to traces being problematic, or is it more if they eat a lot of the offending food?
So substantial reports suggest that the majority of cases will be able to tolerate that food if it's cooked. For example, a cake that contains dairy will not be as provocative for reaction compared to raw milk or a yogurt, for example. Same thing for eggs. So if it's incorporated in baked goods, often it's better tolerated, but it's better to evaluate with an allergist first in order to provide the right recommendation for the specific case.
I would think, too, that parents are just going to want to be cautious because if you have a child who's throwing up frequently, not only you're worried about dehydration in the immediate term, but malnutrition over the long term if they can't keep anything down frequently. That must be a real puzzle for parents. Right.
I mean, luckily, it's not very common. It's less than 1%, but it needs to be diagnosed appropriately and treated appropriately. And again, the good news is that most of them resolve over time.
So it is true then that I quote unquote, outgrew my allergies if I had them originally when I was young. I guess that's comforting that for parents to know that things will, in the majority of cases, will get better.
Yeah, you were one of the lucky ones. Yeah,
I guess. All right, doctor, thank you for the interview.
Thank you.
Dr. Moshe Ben-Shoshan is an allergy and immunology specialist at the Montreal Children's Hospital. Over to traffic.
Hello, Canada.
This is Bryan Adams Radio, hosted by Bryan Adams himself.
We'll play a few of mine, a ton of my favorites, and some must-hear behind-the-scenes stories from the world of rock and roll.
We're coming to get you!
One thing about doing rock and roll so long is you end up meeting a lot of the people that you admire. Sometimes you even get to work with them.
It's only love, and that's all. Bryan Adams Radio. I'm coming back to you. Now available on the free iHeartRadio app.
Hey everybody, how are you tonight? Sounds great.
Every day and the extraordinary. The Elias Macco Show on CJAD 800.
You may have heard this in the news. The federal government quietly announced yesterday it is closing the receipt of new applications for the grandparents and parents reunification program until further notice. So this is an immigration program that allows people who are now in Canada to bring their parents and grandparents here. This is a decision by Immigration, Refugee and Citizenship Canada to say no for the moment on new applications. Why? Because there's a big backlog of existing applications in the pipeline, thousands of them, and it takes a long time to process them. So they're looking at putting a hold on taking any new ones in until the backlog is at least partially dealt with. That doesn't mean no one is going to get in under that program, because Ottawa is saying that as it processes the 60,000 applications in the backlog, it will welcome up to 15,000 parents and grandparents over the next 2 years. Here to help us learn more about the effect this will have on families, Patrice Brunet, immigration lawyer. Good to speak to you again on CJAD, Patrice.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. Is this a surprise to people who work in immigration circles, this decision by Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada?
Not a huge surprise. A continuation somehow of the gradual, probably closing of the program, of the parents and grandparents family reunification program. Since 2020, the program has stopped opening the pool for new applicants, and they're still processing those applications in the backlog. So, when I consult with clients and we touch the subject, It's been an answer of let's wait and see if the program reopens. And now it really it gives more clarity that there's no intention for the federal government to reopen the program, at least in the near future.
Oh, that's your prediction, is it's not coming back. Why would that be in your view?
The question should be asked to the federal government, because it really is becoming a matter of policy. Family reunification still exists, of course, with the family unit, spouses, the close family unit. But this program was aimed at parents and grandparents who wanted to be reunited with their family, with permanent residents and Canadian citizens here. And, that's in line, it should be in line with the general policy of Immigration Canada, which is to favor the reunification of families. It's disappointing, of course, for a lot of families, because I'm going to make this picture simple for you. The world is really divided into two different individuals who can come to Canada: those who come from visa waiver countries and the others. Visa waiver countries are, nationals of, for example, most Western European countries and some Asian countries. And those people can freely enter Canada without a visa. They can just book a flight and enter Canada, and they can see their kids and their grandkids. But where it really affects individuals is those from non-visa waiver countries, such as most countries in Asia, Latin America, and so on. This continues to close the door to parents and grandparents who want to come and be reunited with their kids and with their grandkids. There's still an option to that for them. They can still apply for a visitor visa, and we know that the success rate of visitor visas is unpredictable. And there's still the program, the Super Visa program, which allows them to apply for a visa that is valid for up to 5 years, and they can stay in Canada for up to 5 years, but they can only come to Canada as visitors. So that doesn't make them eligible, of course, for permanent residence and be eligible for the various benefits that permanent residents and citizens can have access to.
I think, Patrice, honestly, that is why a lot of Canadians are very comfortable with what the feds decided to do in halting new applications for the parents and grandparents sponsorship program, and in your view, eventually maybe canceling it altogether. It's because we don't want the sense that we are bringing a lot of people in here who are at the end of their working careers, who are not going to be contributing to the economy except as consumers, and who are probably going to require a lot of services like healthcare.
You put your finger on the question, and it's a political decision. It probably echoes the sentiment of a number of Canadians who want the immigration policy to shift towards more economic immigration. But listen, I'm not defending or against the policy. I'm just reflecting on this current situation. But we have to bear in mind that family reunification and the connection between the parents and the grandparents is very important, especially with the kids. So a lot of the parents and grandparents come to assist the families in their daily chores when they're raising a young family. It's cultural for a lot of nationalities, and to deprive them of that opportunity forces one of the parents not to stay home and not have that additional help to reintegrate the workforce. So there is an impact. There is a social impact that also trickles down to the kids, to the grandkids, who will inevitably miss the family connection with their current parents.
In terms of the Super Visa program, which would allow parents and grandparents to come and visit, not settle here, but visit for up to 5 years, the responsibility for covering their healthcare costs, for example, some type of private insurance, I guess, I don't know how that works, that would fall then on their relatives here. They would have to cover those costs because taxpayers would not cover those costs. Do I have that correct?
Yes, you have that correct. Well, I mean, it falls on the head of the individuals who have the visitor status. So whether it's the Canadians who cover it or the foreigners who cover it, there has to be a private insurance that is contracted.
Is that an impediment in your view to a lot of families?
It is certainly an impediment. It's not all families that have the ability to pay for those costs, especially when they get older. The premiums go up. So it is an impediment for those individuals coming, especially for a long time. If they come for 2 weeks, the premiums are quite modest. But if they come for a number of months, then insurance companies will hike the price.
60,000 applications in the backlog. 15,000 parents and grandparents will be accepted from those applications over the next 2 years. Are you telling your clients who are in the pipeline the odds aren't good? Maybe you should go with the Super Visa, or are you telling them, listen, there's still hope?
Well, I mean, if they've accepted the invitation, they're in the pipeline. They should wait for the processing of their application. But this suspension of the program addresses those that are not in the program. So we have no choice but to explore other options for those individuals, such as the Super Visa or the Visitor Visa, to visit on a temporary basis.
Patrice Brunet, I appreciate you sharing your expertise.
Pleasure. Have a great day.
You too. Patrice Brunet is an immigration lawyer, and you've heard him before on CJAD 800. We rely on his expertise on that matter. Coming up after the 11:30 update, we're going to get a World Cup update.
iHeartRadio is throwing it back.
2010s, the decade.
To the days of huge hits and unforgettable anthems. A non-stop stream of the biggest and best.
Drake, Rihanna, Beyonce, Katy, Gaga, The Weeknd,
and more. All your decade-defining favorites all in one place.
Hi, it's Katy Perry.
Hey, it's Bruno Mars.
This is Kesha.
Find 2010's The Decade on the free iHeartRadio app. Preset the station so it's always one tap away.
Missed something?
Subscribe to the Elias Macco Show podcast to catch up.
Available on iHeartRadio and wherever you get your podcasts.
Coming up this half hour, we will be getting a World Cup update. Stay tuned for that at 10 minutes to the hour. Next, though, we're going to be talking about songs of the summer. Why? Because I ended up chatting with our morning host, Ken Connors, filling in for Andrew Connor, about songs of the summer. And he mentioned one that intrigued me because I hadn't heard it. We'll play it for you and we'll talk about our picks as well. You can get on this. Nominate your song of the summer. Doesn't necessarily have to be this specific summer. It could be something nostalgic too. 514-790-0800 to call and text.
Now trending, the latest in lifestyle with Andrea Elias and Orla Johannes.
Hi, I'm Andrea.
And I'm Orla.
This week, join us for the best of Now Trending. We'll explore some of the best pet-friendly places in the city and the Montreal actor starring in Heated Rivalry.
Plus, traveling around the world without flying. And we'll take a look at wedding gift etiquette.
Now Trending, Sunday afternoon at 2 on CJAD 800.
You can create a happier, healthier lifestyle for you and your family. Montreal en Santé, in partnership with the MUHC, is Quebec's only bilingual health and wellness magazine, giving you breaking medical news and stories that will help you live a more active, healthy lifestyle. Look for the Montreal Roses on the front cover, our new professional women's soccer team ready to inspire a new generation. You can pick up your free copy of Montreal en Santé magazine at all MUHC hospitals, pharmacies, grocery stores, and health food chains island-wide. Or read us online at montrealensante.com. Montreal en Santé magazine, your guide to live.
Canadian women are looking for more more out of themselves, their businesses, their elected leaders, and the world around them.
And that's why we're thrilled to introduce the Honest Talk podcast.
I'm Jennifer Stewart.
And I'm Catherine Clark. And in this podcast, we interview Canada's most inspiring women.
Entrepreneurs, artists, athletes, politicians, and newsmakers, all at different stages of their journey.
So if you're looking to connect, then we hope you'll join us.
Listen to the Honest Talk podcast on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Men's soccer team and now analyst for TSN 690. I would like to extend my thanks to Jay Farrar, technical whiz and master control, Maxime Cadot, who comes up with all the brilliant ideas for programming the show. Thank you both, guys. Watch out for the weather. It looks as though as this rain is moving through Montreal that it's sudden and intense but brief downpours, so it might be tricky driving. Got a text in, got drenched on the 211 bus going to the West Island on Highway 20 near Dorval. Couldn't get the overhead escape hatch closed. Everybody scrambled to the back of the bus. Well, that's the type of thing you're looking for, so do take care out there and enjoy the rest of your day.
iHeartRadio is throwing it back.
2010s, the decade.
To the days of huge hits and unforgettable anthems. A non-stop stream of the biggest and best.
Drake, Rihanna, Beyonce, Katy, Gaga, The Weeknd,
and more. All your decade-defining favorites, all in one place.
Hi, it's Katy Perry.
Hey, it's Bruno Mars.
This is Kesha.
Find 2010's The Decade on the free iHeartRadio app. Preset the station so it's always one tap away.
You're listening to the voice of Montreal.
News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
An iHeartRadio station.
Hello, Canada.
This is Bryan Adams Radio. Hosted by Bryan Adams himself.
We'll play a few of mine, a ton of my favorites, and some must-hear behind-the-scenes stories from the world of rock and roll.
We're coming to get you!
One thing about doing rock and roll so long is you end up meeting a lot of the people that you admire. Sometimes you even get to work with them.
It's only love, and that's all.
Bryan Adams Radio.
I'm coming back to you.
Now available on the free iHeartRadio app.
Hey, everybody, how are you tonight? Sounds great.